The man is galloping through the forest. The soil in front of him suddenly exploded. A giant beetle with a mouth full of fangs rises from the ground. Shore instinctively rolled over to dodge. At the moment of a close call, the mucus seals the bugs in place. Accompanied by a loud roar, the beetle was caught directly into the air by its claws. The back was already wet with cold sweat. God knows in this forest. What a terrifying existence. Continue watching the latest episode of Monster Legacy content. Time goes back to 1962. Shore is performing a project called Top Secret Mission of Hourglass. He and his team rode in a state-of-the-art vehicle. First time in the inner world. It's a bizarre world of titans. It is also a forbidden land that mankind has never set foot on. In the blink of an eye, all of Shore's teammates were sacrificed. Not only is the vehicle damaged and cannot be returned, even the food I brought with me was very little. The only hope at the moment. It is the rescue that is connected to the ground by radio. Just as he was lying next to the mound and waiting to die, suddenly there was an intermittent answer sound from the walkie-talkie. I'm Shore and my team members are dead. Console, I need to evacuate. Meanwhile, Soriyama originally wanted, the elderly Shore who locates the giant beast is shocked. He actually received his own distress signal from years ago. Dr. Suzuki next to him was not surprised. The time flow rate of the two worlds is inherently different. Signal received at channel RIP. It can also be explained. Shore forced himself to calm down. Thinking of the goal of this trip is not yet complete. So he cleared his throat, picked up the walkie-talkie and chatted with his past self. Elderly Shore falsely claims to be a technician at the control center. Then I couldn't wait to ask. Have you seen Godzilla? Young Shore said he had never seen. Now he is most concerned about how to return to the ground. Old Shaw's eyes rolled. Bluntly stated that he does not know his exact location yet. But the organization has a more important task. Let him complete. That is to install a locator on that behemoth. Old Shore remembers. When you leave the center of the earth, that underwater behemoth just got out of hiding. Young Shore soon returned to the spherical cabin. Follow Dr. Suzuki's guidance. He successfully removed the tracker in the cabin. But Shore was still very confused. How on earth are you going to leave? Old Shore tells the truth. The space channel must be opened first, then let Shore take the ride home. As for what this hitchhiker is, Old Shore did not say. Instead, it repeatedly emphasizes. Installing a tracker on a behemoth is risky. But this is also a task that must be completed as a soldier. When he was young, Shore was hot-blooded. Not intimidated by this warning. Instead, he took on the task with confidence. You can use, on the way to the monster's lair. Young Shore feels more and more wrong. As for the rest, don't ask anymore. Old Shore can only continue to fabricate his identity. Claimed to be a colonel who joined later. The mess responsible for cleaning up the operation. As for the rest, don't ask anymore. Young Shore suddenly discovered. The ground glowed with an eerie blue light. An anxious reminder came from the other end of the phone. But even so, young Shore is still electrocuted. A wound appeared on his face. And on the face of the Old Shore in the real world. A clear scar appears at the same time. Apparently what happened in the past. It can affect the current state at any time. And at this time, the young Shore, with more amazing discoveries. He actually found a human camp. Old Shore's face changed after hearing this. Let him quickly take a detour and leave. But the young Shore continued to move forward regardless of it. Because he found the detector that Keiko dropped. The man excitedly called out Kiko's name, desperately trying to rush over. However, it came from the communicator. Old Shore's stern life. Get him out of camp at once. Never go near that woman. The young Shore was completely stunned. I don't understand, control center. Why was such a cold order issued? In fact, his primary goal in the inner world is to find the missing Keiko. Old Shore was anxious. I can only admit that I am not the control center. But from the future Shore. This thing sounds too fantasy. Almost gave young Shore a nervous breakdown. But Old Shore said, secrets that only you know. That love that was never spoken to anyone. He loves Keiko deeply in his heart. Protecting each other is your only mission. This forced Shore to accept this absurd fact. But new doubts arose in my heart. Since Keiko is still alive, why can't you save her? But Old Shore gave a cruel reason. Keiko will be rescued shortly after. And now living happily ever after if Shore rashly contacts Keiko now. This has the potential to change the direction of the future. Finally, Shore Sr. did not forget to warn his younger self. This is the moment when they learn to let go. It's not about sitting idly by. Nor is it an indifference to escape. Instead, use in action. In exchange for a bright future for your beloved. Looking at Kiko's vigorous skills when fishing. Young Shore turned around silently with tears in his eyes. He finally accepted Shore Sr.'s suggestion. Choose not to interfere with future trends. The road can be described as having experienced difficulties and obstacles. Shore has finally arrived at the hideout of the underwater beasts. Under the guidance of Shore Sr., he forcefully carved a hole in the mountain wall. After seeing the tentacles of the behemoth, Shore quickly stuffed the tracker into. Confirm that everything is okay. Old Shore smiled with relief. He reminded young Shore to return to the spherical cabin immediately. Billy will open the passage nearby. Send him back to the real world. Take care of her, okay? It's time to go. Pipe, pipe, pipe. It's time to go. After explaining all the details, the communication between the two was interrupted. And Kate and Keiko here. It is not known that Shore has made significant progress. At this time, he was still immersed in his own research. Keiko determines Kate and the Titan behemoth. There is a special association. That mysterious feeling is not groundless. It's a real frequency signal. Now the giant beast deviated from its original migration route. Whereabouts became unpredictable. Maybe Kate's ability to perceive will be a new breakthrough. Keiko hurriedly flipped through the notes left by Billy. He once discovered a cursed village in Japan. Legend has it that the woman here hear the whispers of demons, thus being lured into darkness. However, Billy found the so-called demonic whisper. The so-called demonic whisper. In fact, it is the sonic signal emitted by the Titan behemoth. Keiko speculates that so many years have passed. If someone in the village can deciphering the hidden messages of sound, then you can help them before the shore found the undersea behemoth. Follow the notebook. The two soon arrived at a remote fishing village. However, the whole village is empty. Time. Keiko felt that this village was full of eccentricities. Get ready to continue your investigation. Unknowingly, they find a huge well. The notebook says the sound of the behemoth. It is from here that. Keiko nodded thoughtfully. The well was full of water. It is the best medium for sound signal propagation. It happened to be Kate's ability to perceive. It also only works if you have contact with water. She decided to take the plunge and try to get to the bottom of the well. Keiko felt that it made sense, so she didn't stop. Just tell Kate to be careful. However, as she slowly crawls, the rope tied around the waist suddenly broke. Kate! Kate falls straight to the bottom of the well. The moment you come into contact with the water source, she heard the familiar sound wave again. Follow the passage all the way. Kate actually came directly to the beach. This proves Billy's guess from the side. That strange sound was indeed made by the giant beast. The well can boost the signal several times more than. This time Kate heard more clearly. She was sure that the underwater behemoth was not lost. Instead, they are asking for help in their own way. Kintaro, who lost his father on the other side, completely confused. Until this little princess of the Apex Company appeared. She said that her father never cared only about the behemoth. This lonely experience is very similar to Kintaro. But in the eyes of the little princess, whether it is the emperor organizing the military, or my father's Apex Company, none of them have made the world safer. She then made a tempting hypothesis. If Godzilla never appeared, will the world become a better place? It seems that this little princess found another way to salvation. I just don't know what it brings to the world. Is it a surprise or a fright? And Xiaomei here was suddenly attacked by two strong men, stuck in the door of the apartment. In the blink of an eye, she came to outpost number 18 of the Imperial Organization. Behemoth. The tentacles of the undersea behemoth. There is also a controller written by Xiaomei on it. He was curious to know what the Vertex Company was doing. Only then did the undersea behemoth deviate from its original migration route. Xiaomei also feels guilty about this. The reason why she helped Vertex companies. Just to stop the behemoth from harmful the world. Now the other party has lost its trace. This also becomes a time bomb buried in the dark. Maybe you can help us organize it. What exactly does the code you write do to the behemoth? At this time, Tim broke another fierce news. Landa, head of Vertex Corporation, deliberately concealing Xiaomei's existence. Even the control program she wrote was not reported. Behind this deception. Apparently hidden unknown conspiracy. After successfully locking the location of the ocean behemoth, Shore decided to set off immediately. He rejected Dr. Suzuki's request to travel with him. Because Shore knows very well in his heart. This trip is almost a life of death. After saying goodbye to Dr. Suzuki, Shore once again embarks on a journey to find the behemoth. Meanwhile, Outpost 18 also captured Hourglass 1 signal and confirmed that it is them. The underwater behemoth that has been looking for. It's just that what everyone can't figure out is. This signal lasted for a full 60 years. Tim hurriedly asked someone to bring up the locator. Discover the undersea monster heading towards. Move in the direction where Godzilla is. The above is Monster Legacy. The 7th episode of the 2nd season is about. Although the monster content of this episode is not high. However, the interaction between the two shores. It's still very interesting. Old Shore knows the future ending. But I can only watch regret happen. Life may face many choices. I guess many people are like me. In the dead of night, I often fantasize. If you had made another option. Is your life different?